Okay, so picture this. You're scrolling through Vogue, right? You come across this article that seems, fun, maybe a little bit silly. But according to one pretty savage critique we're looking at today, it is anything but. We're about to dive into a theory that says this little fashion piece isn't just about trends. Oh no, it's supposedly a masterclass in modern manipulation. And here it is. The big question Vogue just casually tossed out there is having a boyfriend embarrassing now? I mean, really, is that person you share your Netflix password with, your partner in crime, suddenly just cringe? Are we all just supposed to be putting on a performance of singlehood for Instagram now? Vogue is kind of like, maybe, but the author we're digging into today is giving that a very, very hard no. And boom, there it is. The gloves are off. The author we're covering doesn't just disagree with Vogue. They call the whole thing a psychological operation, or to use their exact incredible words, a psyop wrapped in a 3,200 Bottega Veneta bag. Wow. So yeah, this isn't just about dating trends anymore. According to this take, it's a beautifully packaged piece of pure manipulation. Okay, let's actually break this down. So in one corner, you've got Vogue's piece, which on the surface looks like a fun little take on modern dating. And in the other corner, you have this author's absolutely scathing takedown, which argues there's a much more cynical agenda hiding between the lines. So what kind of groundbreaking, peer-reviewed data did Vogue use to support this trend? Well, according to our source, the evidence was pretty much just TikTok thirst traps and the general vibes from a group chat. Yeah, we're talking less hard-hitting journalism and more, what you do when you're bored on a Friday night. But our author, well, they're reading between the lines and seeing something way more deliberate. They're arguing this isn't just a trend piece. It's basically a manifesto for what they call perpetual spinsterhood and luxury loneliness. The whole idea is that being single is getting rebranded as the ultimate, chic, must-have accessory. Like the latest it bag. Okay, this is where the theory gets really wild. The author actually maps out something they call the cat lady pipeline. And yes, you heard that right. It's this supposed step-by-step process designed to turn single women into lifelong, high-spending consumers. I know, it sounds a little out there, but stick with me. Let's look at the steps they lay out. All right, so check this out. Step 1, according to the author, you start with a little social pressure. Convince women that posting photos with their partner is pick-me behavior. Step 2, that leads to the big delete. Women start scrubbing their boyfriends from their social media feeds. Then you fast forward 5 years or so, and suddenly it's all solo vacations and a cute rescue cat. And finally, step 4, the payoff. Corporations swoop in to sell these same women a minimalist cat towers and expensive self-care products to fill a void that, the author claims, was basically created for them. Now, a huge part of the author's critique is that while Vogue was busy focusing on vibes and viral TikToks, they kind of forgot to mention some pretty significant data, hard numbers about relationships, happiness, and money. So let's take a look at the data the author says Vogue ignored. First up, the number 85. Now, this isn't just a random number. It's for Harvard's massive 85-year study on happiness. I mean, 85 years. And after tracking people for almost a century, what did they find was the #1 predictor of a long, happy life? It wasn't money. It wasn't fame. It was the quality of their close relationships. The very thing this author says is now being framed as cringe. Okay, next up, 63%. According to the author, who's citing the Census Bureau here, single women over the age of 40 are 63% more likely to live in poverty than married women. That's a huge number, and it's a pretty stark financial reality that just doesn't quite line up with that glamorous, luxury loneliness story we're supposedly being sold. And the final stat? 41%. This is where the author ties it all back to that cat lady pipeline theory. They point to a reported 41% spike in cat adoptions among childless women between 30 and 45. The argument here is that this isn't just a cute coincidence, it's a predictable outcome of this whole cultural shift. So the author actually gives this whole thing a name, corporate feminism. And yes, they definitely add that little trademark symbol for dramatic effect. They define it as an ideology that basically hijacks the language of female empowerment, not to actually empower women, but to make money by playing on female anxiety and isolation. This right here really sums up the whole argument. The claim is that these corporate interests are taking a genuinely good thing like independence and just tweaking it a little, rebranding it as isolation. And then partnership, something that's a source of support for millions, gets twisted and relabeled as a cringe liability. It's a pretty clever and, if you believe this theory, pretty cynical swap. And to show this isn't all just theory, the author points to Sarah, a 29-year-old woman who was actually quoted in the original Vogue piece. She literally said, "I stopped posting my boyfriend because my followers said it was try hard, not because she was unhappy, but because of social media pressure." The author holds her up as the perfect case study, a real person caught in the middle of this manufactured cringe culture. Okay, so after all of that, what's the solution? I mean, what are we supposed to do? Well, the author doesn't just point out the problem, they offer an antidote. And it's a pretty direct, almost punk rock rebellion against this whole narrative. And here it is, the call to action. First, post your damn boyfriend. Be happy. Buy the cheap $12 wine, not the $120 wellness rosé. Remember that a cat is a pet, not a whole personality. Oh, and cancel Vogue. And finally, the big one. Touch grass. Touch people. It's simple, it's direct, and it's all about choosing real human connection over just buying more stuff. And really, that's what this all boils down to. According to the author, the real question isn't whether having a boyfriend is cringe. The real question, the one they leave us with, is this. Are we letting our culture, and maybe the corporations behind it, convince us that love itself is a liability? It's a lot to think about for sure.